Science Conference. And permit me to welcome the college provost and other members of the college management to our conference, Ancosos 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, every dignitary present is hereby welcome to the program. And I pray that every aspect of the program shall lead to success. So the next line of action is the opening prayer that should be said by Mr. T.H. Abejeje. Mr. T.H. Abejeje, please come to the podium.
In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, we bless you, glorify you, we honor you, Lord, because you are God. We thank you for granting us this opportunity to hold this new online conference in the School of Science today. Father, praise your name, may your name be glorified in Jesus' name. As we are starting this conference, we pray that you be with us in Jesus' name, guide us, direct us. Every step we are going to embark on this online conference, Lord, take preeminence in Jesus' name. At the end of the whole thing, let the blessings be ours and the glory be yours. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
We all want to take to that after the All right, thank you so much for taking the melodious anthem of Adeyemi College of Education, Ondo. We want to introduce our guests, and of course, since we know this is a virtual conference, we would want the person managing the Zoom, and when we introduce our guests that are on the platform, you kindly just, once they signify, kindly spotlight them so that they can be visible to people, for people to know that they are there. Also, we have some of our guests too, who are also in-house here, and of course, they will be showcased at a later time when it is. Now, first of all, we want to warmly welcome the host of this annual national conference of the School of Science at Adeyemi College of Ondo. The host is no other person than our Mebu Dean. Is here seated. We have the Dean, School of Science, Dr. Matthew O. Ojo is seated on the high table, and of course we all can see him. Cameraman will also help us to show the Dean, who is well seated beside Dr. Rashid Oloyede, who is one of our guest speakers today. Dr. Ojo, you are welcome, sir. And that's the Dean, School of Science at the College of Education. We also have one of our own, the lead paper presenter is no other person than I've mentioned his name the other time, Dr. Rashid Oloyede from the Department of Physical and Health Education at the Adeyemi College of Education is seated beside the chairman LOC, or right at the right of the Dean, School of Science. Dr. Oloyede, you are welcome, sir. Thank you very much. Happy Ramadan. Thank you so very much, sir. We appreciate you. While still introducing the people in-house, we also want to introduce the chairman, LOC, who is no other person than our Mebu dynamic Vice Dean, who is Dr. Mrs. A.O. Akinkulie. She is the dynamic LOC who has been the chairman of the local organizing committee. She has been very dynamic, she has been very, very energetic, very, very beautiful, and we are last year when we started the virtual conference, we are very glad to have her on board. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you very much.
Now, we have a reputable scholar, a reputable academic, who is the chair of this occasion. It's no other person. When you Google search his name, you will see so many things about him, what he has done. We have the life of Professor Yekini Anifowoshe from Federal University of Technology, Akure. There's no other FUTA, there's no other Federal University of Technology in Ondo State other than FUTA, and we have Professor Yekini Anifowoshe. Please, our online Zoom, please kindly we want to identify Professor Anifowoshe on the so please kindly spotlight him while he just say hi to people. Professor Anifowoshe is there. He's one of those who had even joined much more before we started. Please kindly spotlight Professor Anifowoshe. All right, thank you. When Professor Anifowoshe will be coming, we would also have his speech, his address as the chairman of this very occasion. I want to appreciate him why he agreed to share this very occasion even despite his tight schedule, onshore, offshore, in Nigeria, outside the country, and whatever, he has commitment, a great commitment in Federal University of Technology, Akure. I want to invite to the podium the chairman LOC, yes, chairwoman, a woman like a man, Dr. Mrs. Akinpole for opening.
Thank you, Dr. Ademed. My address goes thus.
Okay.
Welcome address. A welcome address delivered by Dr. Mrs. Akinpole, the chairperson, Local Organizing Committee, LOC, at the opening ceremony of the 2021 edition of Annual National Conference of the School of Science. The chairman of the occasion, Professor A.Y.B. Anifowoshe, the provost of the college, Dr. Samuel Akintunde, principal officers of the college, deans and directors, keynote address presenter, Professor J.S. Ojo, lead paper presenter, Dr. Aru Oloyede, members of academic staff and students, participants, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the School of Science, Local Organizing Committee, I am delighted to welcome you all cordially to the 2021 Annual National Conference of the School of Science, Ancosos, Adeyemi College of Education, Ondo, tagged Repositioning Science, Education and Technology in Driving the Fourth Industrial Revolution in Nigeria amidst the COVID-19 saga. The theme is highly relevant to the current issue and situation of this nation, especially now that modern technologies are gradually taking the place of previous antiquated industrial revolutions, and thus reflecting the roles of science and technology in the metamorphosis, coupled with enhancing the concomitant effect. There is no doubt COVID-19 saga posed a setback to our economic growth, but the ability to forge ahead and be resilient, as reflected in the theme, is indicative of our economic growth. But the ability to forge ahead and be resilient, as reflected in the theme, is indicative of our traits as true Nigerian scientists. It is indeed an opportune time to discuss and deliberate on these sensitive issues. Permit me to seize this opportunity to appreciate the provost of the college, Dr. S.A. Akintunde, for his unalloyed support and commitment towards the success of the conference. Special thanks go to the Dean School of Science, Dr. Emo Ojo, for his motivation and encouragement. Past deans and chairmen of conference organizing committee are also acknowledged for their contributions to the school. I especially welcome and appreciate the chairman of the occasion, Professor A.Y.B. Anifowoshe, keynote address presenter, Professor Ojo, and lead paper presenter, Dr. Aru Oloyede. Thank you, sirs, for honoring our invitation. I would like to thank the members of the conference organizing committee for their immeasurable support and commitment. Also, academic staff and students, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again, you are welcome. Thank you for being part of the conference, and I wish you successful deliberations. God bless you all. Thank you.
We also want to bring to the podium the Dean of the School of Science, Adeyemi College of Education, Ondo. who is going to deliver his welcome address, will be coming, and I know he's very loaded. We thank God he started this last year despite COVID-19. We had a very fantastic virtual conference, well attended, and very many people joined from different parts of this world. And on the YouTube link, we saw many views, and it was really a great thing. I would want to welcome Dr. Matthew Ojo to the podium for his opening speech at the Dean School of Science. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Adinegro. Welcome address delivered by Dr. M. Ojo, the Dean School of Science, at the opening ceremony of 2021 edition of Annual National Conference of School of Science. The chairman of the occasion, Professor A.Y.B. Anifuwoshi, the provost, Dr. Samuel Akintunde, the principal officers of the college, deans and directors, keynote address presenter, Professor J.S. Ojo, lead paper presenter, Dr. Ivo Uloyede, member of academic staff and students. I welcome you all. It gives me, ladies and gentlemen, and co-participants, it gives me a great pleasure to extend to you all a very warm welcome to the 2021 edition of the Annual National Conference themed repositioning science, education, and technology in driving the fourth industrial revolution in Nigeria amidst the COVID-19 saga, organized by the School of Science at the Yale College of Education in Ondo. It is with this difference that I welcome our key note address presenter, Professor J.S. Ojo of the Department of Physics, Federal University of Technology, Akure, and the lead paper presenter, our own and a brother, and one of the chief lecturers in the School of Science, Dr. Arwe R.O. Uloyede. I equally welcome the chief host of the provost of this college, our own provost, Dr. Samuel Akintunde, for his unreserved attention and financial support toward the advancement, sorry, that was a kind of slide. Is this? Toward the advancement of the Annual National Conference of the School of Science. I'm aware that a conference of this nature involves careful planning and well thought out strategies to ensure quality outputs. For this, I sincerely appreciate the members of the local organizing committee, led by the Vice Dean of the School of Science, Dr. Mrs. A.O. Akikolie, for a job well done. The innovations of the fourth industrial revolution, such as artificial intelligence, robotics, cloud computing, biotechnology, hold great potential for improving management and governance of the global environment, creating vibrant, resource secure and inclusive economies, and lead to high productivity and improved quality of life. I commend the staff of the School of Science for their continued support and dedication, and I urge them to keep it up. My professor, chairman, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, once again, you are welcome. I wish you all a successful and fruitful conference. Please stay safe and remain blessed. Thank you.
Right, we want to give it to our dean once again for that beautiful speech. We have the representative of the chief host, our college provost, will be here because of the tight schedule of the college management. Of course, it has been since Monday. There has been a presidential visitation panel on campus, and the provost is highly involved, and with all members of management. The representative will be presenting the provost speech any moment from now. But while we await the presentation of the provost speech, which will be done now, we want to invite the chairman of this very occasion, Professor AYB Adifoshe from the Department of GIS, Federal University of Technology, Akure. I want us to kindly showcase the profile of Professor Adifoshe. Please, our IT team, please kindly showcase the profile of Professor Adifoshe so that others will be able to see that every year we do bring up, invite reputable people who come around and share our program, who come around and deliver talk, deliver speech and the like. And so we know this year again we have another reputable scholar who is coming as the chairman of this very occasion in the person of Professor AYB Adifoshe. Also, when we'll be having the like of Professor Uju, we'll be having the like of Dr. Rashid Oloyede, then we know that Ancosos has again made it this year with the caliber of people we have. The profile, please zoom. Of course, I hope that the profile is being showcased. We have that. He's a man who has a very long profile, reading his own. We have it in the program and also it's online. We have that about Professor Adifoshe, and he's a man of great repute, and of course, he's somebody I honor so much. He's somebody I admire so much. He's somebody not just because he's also from my own domain, the land of honor, like people who put it in yes, Professor Adifoshe is a great scholar of high standard and somebody who many of us, younger ones, look up to admire and cherish his lifetime. So we have that on the profile of the chairman, and that has also been sent to all participants, and that is being showcased now. I invite Professor Yekini Adifoshe on board. Is there live and direct on the Zoom platform. Please kindly spotlight Professor Adifoshe for his address. IT team, please kindly spotlight Professor Adifoshe. Thank you, Professor Adifoshe. You are most welcome, sir.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, whichever part of the world you reside. I'm glad to be here to chairman this occasion. First and foremost, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the provost, the deputy provost, the registrar, librarian, the bursar, all deans, and particularly the Dean of School of Science, the chairperson, LOC, and other members of the local organizing committee, distinguished members of the academic community, distinguished members of the press. If they are present, we don't joke with the press because they can twist and untwist. So we have to acknowledge their presence. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to be in your midst, virtual. And I commend the efforts of the organizers in putting on the scientific conference in spite of the challenges posed by the economy as well as the COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic is still with us as international citizens. Most of us have not been able to travel to any conference or any scientific gathering because of COVID-19. But we thank God that this has not been really terrible as in other climes. For example, India is still struggling to get its populace out of this. The same thing with other countries in Europe. But we thank God that ours is not as terrible as those other countries we just mentioned. I also thank my brother, Dr. Kehinde Adenegan of Achilles University, who also happens to be the chaplain at the school. He made a first contact with me on my role in this conference. And he has been very dogged in ensuring that I accepted the role. Fortuitously, my wife is a 1982 product of your institution. And so I have some form of emotional attachment to Adeyemi College of Education, Ondo. That is why I cannot refuse to come on this program. So I thank you so much for inviting me. Looking at the theme of the conference, I observed that science and technology have an immense role to play in Nigeria at the forefront of industrial revolution. And for those of us who were born just before independence, we observed that as we grew up, we got to know the presence of many industries. Those of you who live in Lagos, you probably will remember a river that is near Ojota. They call it Odoyalaro. And what made it to be called Odoyalaro is that anytime the textile mill in Ikeja textile mill, was producing Ankara of a certain color, the effluent would be left into the stream. And so the stream would change its color according to the dye being used in the industry. So if it is red today, the stream will be reddish in color. The following day, if it is green Ankara, the stream will be green. And so people thought that, Laro is angry today, that's why it has changed its color. Those were the peak of industrial revolution then. And we expected that, yes, Nigeria will grow along that trend. And we have around us, if you remember, Nirowi was into wood and wood processing, ceramics industry in Ifon, here in Ondo State, was also into the industry and confectionaries and all the other things. But here we are today. Most of these industries are going down, and some of them, the premises of some of them have even been turned into churches, where people will now clap, hoping that God will send manna from heaven. But those are the areas where manna were falling then, where manna was falling and people were sort of contented. But things have changed. We know that science, education, and technology are applicable to all facets of human lives and activities. And human beings try as much as possible to get the basic necessities of life for existence. We can change our lifestyle based on science and technology. And we have been doing that because Nigerians, as you know, they are very glamorous. They like to spend money, even without making the money. And so most of the things that are being produced were produced simply because we enjoyed life. But things are changing now. Let's take India, for example, because India is another democracy that got its independence from Great Britain, just like Nigeria. But India has made tremendous achievement in green revolution using ICT. And their scientists have gone ahead to make a lot of impact on their citizens. Those of you who could remember Green Revolution during Obasanjo regime, you must be thinking by now what happened to our Green Revolution. Any country at all that wants to make progress must ensure that it puts a lot of money into science, technology, education, and ensure that a sizable number of its citizens are well schooled. In 2021, out of the 7.99 trillion naira projected for the year, science and technology was allocated mere 107.06 billion naira. And a total of 226.2 billion naira is budgeted as capital expenditure for education. While, imagine it, 1.9 trillion naira is allocated to defense and industry. So are we making adequate provision for our children, for our future leaders? Putting so much money into defense and security while education, science, and technology have only paltry sums? Science and technology is so important that there's virtually no human endeavor that will not be impacted. But let's look at Earth observation, which happens to be my area. Ladies and gentlemen, science and technology is very important. We cannot run away from this. If we are to make any impact on our population, which is growing sporadically every year, if we are to make impact on our neighbors, if we are to make impact on the world, then we must embrace science and technology. A lot of satellite data can be acquired for the purpose of monitoring Earth resources. And you can go ahead to now use such data to plan for exploration, to plan for exploitation, while at the same time you are taking care of your environment so that you'll be able to meet the United Nations SDG, Strategic Development Goals. Our people say, once one is satisfied with 3 meals, square or not, then one will have the mind and heart to focus on other things. Agriculture has gone beyond what our forefathers used to do. So nowadays, high precision images are being used in conjunction with GPS, Global Positioning System, for crop monitoring, so that if you are looking at a large expanse of land, you'll be able to decipher which part of this expanse of land that is cropped is diseased, so that you can go to such areas and do the needful, either fumigation or you want to eradicate weeds and so on and so forth. All these, or you want to apply fertilizer, all these can be used in order to boost the crop yield from that area. All this can be done using the Earth observation satellite. And according to Digital Earth Africa report, Africa has the potential to have an economic impact of about $1 billion a year through the use of Earth observation technologies to save water, to increase crop yield, to reduce insurance costs, and reduce pesticide usage. That's a lot of money, particularly for Africa, particularly for the agricultural sector. That's a lot of money. And we have observed that during this COVID-19, when people were unable to go to their offices, they were unable to go to their other places of work, people turned to farming, even if it is backyard farming, and they were able to get enough food within their area. Ocean fishing is particularly important within our territorial waters, and information from Earth observation satellites can be used to guide fishing trawlers. It is unfortunate that most of these ocean fishing are being done by foreigners. They will bring their trawlers into our territorial waters and cart away our fish. They do so and then bring them back, and we will import and pay tremendous prices for these. These are things we can do on our own and we can improve upon using Earth observation satellites. The same thing goes for mineral exploration and mining. We can make a lot of money from this. How about disaster monitoring and mitigation? All these and many more can be achieved with the use of Earth observation satellites. Let me quickly mention a few things, which is what is bothering all of us in these contemporary times, and that is insecurity. Yes, Earth observation is one of the tools that can be used to stem insecurity if we are serious. If and only if we are serious. The Earth observation we're talking about has got to do with satellites that are in space with ground stations. And from these ground stations, we can download satellite images that cover certain parts of the country. And depending on the type of imagery you need, you'll be able to know if metallic objects, for example, these these people who are troubling Nigerians all over the place, call them Boko Haram, call them bandits, call them all manners of names. They use metallic objects, metallic vehicles. They have four-wheel drives. Those who came to cart away the Chibok girls that time brought trucks, not cars. They brought trucks, which are made with metals, and these metals can be observed from space. And in real time, you can actually monitor the movements of these vehicles, be they armored vehicles, be they aircraft, be they truck mounted guns, and so on and so forth. You can see all this without leaving the comfort of your office. And these can now be sent to the military strategists who will now use them to plan their operations. And before you know it, these people will be rounded up and captured. But are we using these facilities that are available to virtually every military in the world? Are we incapable? Anyway, that's just by the way. Some of the human activities that affect the environment are emission of toxic wastes by industries, pollution of soil, water, air, deforestation, and so on and so forth. All these can be monitored from space. And you know that when the environment is affected by our carelessness as human beings, we try to justify our reasons for polluting the environment. But we can do better, because when the pollution comes, when the pollution gets to a high level, it affects virtually everyone. We are undergoing global warming now. Everyone is sweating all over the place. There is drought and desertification in some other parts, while some areas are experiencing a sea level rise. Some parts of Ondo State were lost to the ocean recently. And all these are because of our carelessness as human beings. So we should be able to develop or to educate a large population of Nigerians. They must be scientifically literate enough to be able to make reasonable progress in science and technology. We can be doing that little, but a lot of this need to be coordinated. And who does the coordination? The government, of course. And without science and technology, no nation can develop. If we think we are developing, we are merely scratching the surface. Not until we can go out to establish contact between knowledge producers, which are the universities and the polytechnics, and the knowledge users, which are the industry, will not be able to make serious impact. So with this, such knowledge and skills that have been acquired in the universities and polytechnics can now be practiced and subsequently adapted and perfected for industrial applications. For any country to make positive impact, therefore, scientific and technical breakthroughs should be its main focus. This will enable the country to maintain global competitiveness while contributing to global economy. In our universities and research institutes today, there is visibly low financial input towards research and development. For those of us who go around on NUC accreditation, we see a lot of decay in the system. And it is apparently because not enough money, not enough finance is being put into research and development in this country. And so there is a human capacity flight. People go to other parts of the world where their brains are respected. And before you know it, you see Nigerians excelling out there while we are suffering here simply because we do not seem to know what it takes to bring up a society that appreciates science, technology, and engineering innovation. According to Bukola 2014, education promotes creativity, and this is an innate attribute which flowers in settings provided through quality education. What is the standard of our education? Let's look at the following question. What curricula are we running in our institutions today? Are they relevant in serving as precursor for development in the contemporary world? After all, the world is a large place and we cannot live in isolation. What do we need to do to ensure the repositioning of science and technology for us to be relevant in the community of nations? Now let's look at it. Where is technical and vocational education in this country? So for Nigeria to develop, our educational system should be overhauled. We shouldn't be paying lip service to science and education if we must move forward. It is what you have that you can share with others. Therefore, teachers will have to be well trained and exposed to retraining in modern teaching methods. And this is where the challenge goes to Adeyemi College of Education as a prime institution where future teachers are trained. Every parent wants his or her children to attend the university because non-university graduates are treated as second-class members of Nigeria's workforce. They are discriminated against as they are placed lower than their university graduate colleagues at the point of entry. I think this is changing now, and I hope that all facets of the Nigerian economy will respect those graduates who are from polytechnics or technical institutions. So it's high time for Nigeria to place adequate emphasis on technical knowledge and skill so that the required manpower for technological development can be secured. Nigeria cannot afford to depend on foreign technical expertise because we can make our own people to do what those people are doing. So for the fourth industrial revolution to survive in Africa, particularly Nigeria, science, technology education, mathematics, space studies must be taken seriously. And all of these are what we need to bring out people who can fit into the contemporary world. We can't afford to lag behind. We can't. The other parts of the world are growing, so we must catch up. All of the above are ingredients towards the increased successful use of an adoption of technologies such as artificial intelligence, cloud computing, robotics, 3D printing, Internet of Things, and advanced technology. Children should be trained to play around with science and technology skills that can spread their imagination and creativity. Handheld computers, scientific skills, and so on and so forth should be provided for children. About 3 days ago, one of my grandchildren shared his photograph with me. The mother took him to children's technology village in Canada.
Come.
And you need to see what the child was exposed to. These are the things we should be doing, not seesaw or slide and so on that we see in our schools. No, they should be exposed to new scientific innovation.
Okay, you have to do for okay.
Are you with me, gentlemen and ladies? Hello, are you there with me? Hello? Hello? Hello, are you there with me?
Yes, we are with you.
Thank you. Just to make sure. So most of Nigeria's higher institutions are still groping in the dark in this aspect of the fourth industrial revolution. If they are lagging behind, who will be the torchbearers? Nigerian higher institutions are there to provide leadership, but unfortunately, they don't even have the wherewithal to catch up with the contemporary world. The brains are here, really, but when you don't have the right tools, the brains will be decaying. And that is why, if any Nigerian graduate, let me say, escapes, that's the right word. If any Nigerian graduate escapes out of Nigeria and he goes to the UK or Canada or US, he will excel. Why? Because of the environment. Our environment here is choking. Within the past few years, it is apparent that knowledge creation and capacity, rather than natural resources, are the greatest determinant for any country to be able to be relevant in the 21st century and beyond. Are we ready for global competitiveness that is already staring us in the face as a nation, as well as individuals? Over time, our oil and gas will no longer be as profitable as it is now. Let's look at Japan. Japan has no mineral resources, yet it ranks amongst the highest producers and exporters of ICT in the world. Just mention any aspect of ICT, you find Japan there, you find Korea there. They are not special human beings. Americans are not special human beings. I recently saw a video where some Americans are being interviewed. Some of them don't even know the capital of their country. It's as bad as that. So we are not that poor. We are not that dense. We have everything that is required to excel, but for the conducive environment that is absent. I urge participants in this conference to come forward with solutions to the aforementioned challenges in order to rescue the future generation from global irrelevance. The rest of the world is not going to wait for us. Right now, all other countries are moving while we are fighting ourselves. Rather than provide solutions, some people are already looking forward to 2023 and pretending as if nothing is happening to the rest of the population. We have to catch up. We have to wake up to be able to catch up with the rest of the world. It's either we catch up or we get left behind. The choice is ours. Thank you for listening.
We want to thank the chairman of this occasion. I've said it, Professor Yekini Anukwoshe is an orator. Yes, give him time. In fact, we will do justice, just like the keynote address presenter and the lead paper presenter. But of course, we have learned a lot from him and what he has said in his speech. Permit me to invite the representative of the chief host, the college provost, Dr. Samuel Akinriola Akintunde. This very college. We have someone from the School of Science who will stand in for him to deliver his speech. I've said he has sent his apology, and the person will stand in for the provost and declare this conference open. Well, I know somebody will be asking me, is the conference not open? Officially, we have the provost on board now to declare the conference open. Thank you. I invite Dr. A.O. Ario from the Department of PhD.
Once again, good day, House. I want to wish us a wonderful conference. Standing for the Provost, Dr. S.A. Akintunde. My name is Dr. Ario Ayodele. The Provost speech. The chairman of the occasion, principal officers present, deans and directors, keynote address and lead paper presenters, members of academic staff and students, participants, ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to welcome you to the 2021 Annual National Conference of School of Science, themed Repositioning Science Education and Technology in Driving the Fourth Industrial Revolution in Nigeria amidst the COVID-19 saga. I wish to extend my sincere gratitude, congratulations, and congratulate the School of Science for the enthusiasm and determination in organizing this online conference, which is fast becoming the norm in line with current global realities. It is also a noteworthy attempt to forge the continuity of an annual tradition. The fourth industrial revolution is characterized by the growing utilization of modern technologies, such as artificial intelligence, robotics, wireless communication, internet, 3D images, cloud computing, among others. Africa has been left behind during the previous industrial revolutions of the steam engine, electricity, and lately computers. So far, it does not appear that Africa and Nigeria in particular have yet positioned itself strategically to benefit optimally from the socio-economic growth that the various 4IR transformation technologies can engender. In recent years, the ICT sector in Nigeria has grown in leaps and bounds. This is evident in the digitalization of various sectors that has led to companies such as Jumai, Konga, Taxify, Bolt, Paystock, and the rest. However, the current level of investments in 4IR technologies are very modest when compared with current world realities. Perhaps we should ponder on the fact that the operating income of Facebook was more than the budget of Nigeria as a nation in year 2020. I therefore charge this year's annual national conference participants to provide a platform for robust deliberations towards highlighting the various ways science education, and technology can reposition towards driving the fourth industrial revolution in Nigeria. I strongly encourage delegates to contribute positively and constructively in the plenary sessions so as to generate important recommendations for this conference. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, once again, you are welcome. I wish everyone a successful and fruitful conference. Thank you very much for your attention. I want to hereby declare this conference open in the name of God the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you.
We really want to thank Dr. A.U. Ariyo from the Department of PhD Academic Education, who studied for the college provost and has declared the conference open. I want to really appreciate him so much and appreciate the provost, the father, an astute administrator, an academic guru, for his support, and of course, the lofty ideas in his administration, which he has been very, very supportive. And of course, last year, because of the corona, and we started this initiative, and he supported us wholeheartedly, and of course, it was a great innovative idea, and of course, which was well attended. People from Spain, South Africa, UK, US attended the conference virtually. We want to appreciate our amiable provost, once again, Dr. S.A. Akin, today. Thank you so much, sir. Why we now want to invite the keynote address presenter is also from FUTA. The other time I said we only have one and only FUTA, which is in Akure, Federal University of Technology, Akure, and we are dealing with science and technology. This is conference of School of Science, so we have not gone elsewhere to bring someone else or any other person, but we have brought in a notable academic scholar, no other person than the Professor J.S. Ujo. Once again, Prof, you are most welcome. We have the profile of Joseph Ujo as our IT. science in our department, which is a product of this institution. So I want to actually commend the efforts of all the lecturers, commend the effort of the provost for keeping the pace of this standard of learning. God will continue to honor and help you in Jesus' name. The theme of this conference, which is repositioning science, science education, and technology in driving the fourth industrial revolution amidst the COVID-19 saga, is not only apt, but also important at this crucial time in view of the pandemic challenges the nation and the entire world is grappling with. This conference, no doubt, is one of the Ancosos initiatives to alert the educationists the need to rise to the challenges with the aim of repositioning science, science education, and technology in driving the fourth industrial revolution amidst the COVID-19 saga. The outline is also presented over here. Yes, let's go into the topic itself. Science. Science. I call it what? Science, we know, is a process of seeking and understanding the underlying principles of nature. In fact, though nature is surrounded by science, and that is why, even biblically, God initiated it, because at the beginning he said, "Let there be light," and there was light. So it was an initiative of God. Science itself involves two facets. That is the technological fact, which is the factual one, and the philosophical. You see, in terms of the philosophical, science is the inbit of the philosophy that actually transformed into the technological issue, which is the science. And that actually led to what we call technology. And technology, which is the direct application of knowledge to solve problems. Because without technology, the earth or the whole world itself will be in darkness. Science has grew out of natural philosophy, like I said, or the philosophical speculation of nature. But we must know that science is not equal to technology. But although both of them are what they are symbiosis, but they are not the same. Science, like we said, is the process of discovering, explaining, and predicting natural or social phenomena. It is the technology by itself is the activities that actually apply the principle of science and the mechanism, the solution of a specific problem. You apply science to solve a problem, and that is the outcome of technology. Technology cannot be without science. It cannot be without science because science is the foundation of technology. Therefore, the technology is actually the process by which humans modify nature to meet the needs and the wants of people. Figure 1 actually shows a typical science, which one we can see. It's actually a symbol of what science is. In continuation, science and technology now, we look at it together, has actually become the critical factors of economic and social development because of the role they play in national development. It's actually not against saying that science and technology education is the primary source needed to acquire the required knowledge for national development. It is therefore the responsibility of any educational system in a country to prepare young people in a way they should spend the rest of their lives in trying to adapt to their environment and contribute their quota to the growth and development of the environment they find themselves. Now we come to education. Education in science and technology is so important, not only to the citizenry, but also to our rulers and leaders, the political arena, the socio-economic, the academic, and even the traditional. Hence, the developing status of a nation depends on the extent to which you can satisfy the basic and other needs of the people. At this juncture, we know if you are educated and if you are even going into business, if you are even into barbers or you are even into mechanics, you realize that the way you are going to apply it, because you are educated, is different from somebody that has never stepped before wall of an institution. That is the importance of education. and probably by the time you now apply it to what science is. Now, after the Second World War, different schemes and policies have been adopted to actually reposition science and education. These are just some steps, like the cooperative education system, study and adaptation center, which we call SEXA. Now it is referred to as NADIX, which is National Educational Research and Development Council. That was established in 1963. After knowing the extent and which science education is important, this organization was formed. In 1986, the African Science Education actually remodeled what we call the National Educational Scientific and Cultural Organization, which is UNESCO. However, there are several problems that are associated with the teaching of science purely for acquisition of knowledge, because it leads to a misrepresentation of science. In teaching of science, there are two sectors. The first one is our old traditional method, and that is why we want to talk about repositioning. The old traditional method of teaching is that the teacher-centered approach, and it has the following features. In TCA, teacher is the main authority figure. He is the alpha and omega. Students are viewed as an empty vessel. You cannot contribute anything as a student. That is, they are passive. Their knowledge is remote as far as lecturers and teachers are concerned. So the end goal of this is that I will not teach you, then I will conduct tests, then we have assessment or continual assessment, then I will grade you, then you are okay. That is our old traditional method of teaching. But again, the old traditional method of teaching actually make teaching and assessment as they are viewed as two separate entities. If I give you an assessment, to me is different from the way I teach you. In teaching, I may teach you or lecture you, which I don't know whether you understand or not. But I want to base it on the assessment I give you to actually assess your performance or to assess how well you understand what I've taught you. That is one thing about the TCA. Now, student learning is measured through the objectively score test and assessment. Student learning is measured based on what you score in your test or the assessment. I was surprised in one of my visits to ICTP, and one of the programs that we taught that is a very complex thing, which is the diploma program in ICTP. If you complete a diploma program in ICTP, you are not going to do masters. You go directly for PhD. Now, I realized that they gave them tests and assessment, and immediately they mark it. That after marking it, about 30% failed. Now, the lecturer now gave them the same question, and he gave them to go and solve it at home. Now, the student brought the report the second day. He graded them the same. But those who did that test, they have 5 marks more than that person. More than those who he gave to go and solve it at home. Now, what we are trying to prove is that the way by which we assess does not actually limited to the class, because the fingers we have are not equal, and the students we are dealing with, they are also not the same. Some will take a period of time to reposition their brain by which to actually consent to what they are learning. That is, but as far as the traditional teaching or traditional mode of teaching is concerned, that one is not applicable. Now, we now realize with ages that what is the outcome of TCA? One, it makes students to be very passive. In some, they are not active. They are on the passive mode, which is the passivity. They are only docile in learning. They are only interested in doing what? In depending on the teachers and the textbooks. In fact, some of them, they are not even depending on the textbooks. They are solely depending on the note that the teacher gives them. So if the teacher wanted to write no, and he wrote or, by the time they want to reproduce it during the exam or assessment, they also put what? Because they did not count it as enemies to do what? To go back and reconsider what has been written. But that is what the traditional mode of teaching is concerned. And at the end, the student only cram and just pass the exam and they jubilate that they have passed. But ask them the next day what they have done. It is what? It is a zero. And that actually leads us to what we call the modern method of teaching. Remember, we are looking at the way by which you can reposition science and science education in this period. Now, at the rate that the science is developing, we realize that it may not be possible for us to actually teach students all the scientific information he needs to do, or he needs to grow, or he needs to actually equate himself with people in the developed country. We may not be able to do that one. Instead, according to Booth 1981, it suggested that students should be given opportunities to one. They must discover themselves. They must discover who they are. They must also discover that they have to invent, and they must acquire and process knowledge. They must also get up in the rapid expansion of science and technology information, and they must adequately prepare to deal with the challenges in the future. We all know that we are in a situation whereby we are facing a lot of challenges, and it has gone beyond our mind. And that is why we cannot actually give all what the students demand in the class. So the CSA, which we call student-centered approach, is actually a new way by which you can actually do what? Disseminate our information. And in this way, well, teachers are still the authority of the figure. Teachers are still the authorities when it comes to SCA. Teachers and students play an equal active role in the class. I can teach, you can suggest as a student. We play an active role. It's a dual situation. Students are assessed through both formal and informal method of assessment. Like you give them a group project by which they will be able to interact and do what? They'll be able to share knowledge. And that is why if we want to give them a recommendation, we give a recommendation forcefully. We said they can work in team. Have we ever put them in team to work together? So you put them in a team to work together. That is why they can work in a team. They can also work as individual. And that is, we realize that that is what actually they need as far as this present situation is concerned. So students have to be assessed both by formal and informal method of assessment, like the group work, the student portfolios, and the class participation. Student learning is continually measured during teaching instruction. You see, you give them in the class some assessment by which you begin to record, and you make them to realize that that will form part of their CA. This concept is known as student-centered approach to learning, which has transformed to the modern advent of science and technology that is start the generation of industrial revolution. I want us to know that SCA was actually the genesis of what? Of the industrial revolution. Now, the industrial revolution we are talking about, in the 17th century, you see, the scientists now play together with the challenges they are facing. You know, before we use cow to till the ground. We use cow to till the ground. We use our hand to do manure. We use the donkeys for the animal. Those are it. But in the first generation, it was actually centered on agriculture, and that's why we had the agricultural society. That now became a more industrialized and urban. So it was the first generation because the whole thing that actually handled man or old man is agriculture. Remove agriculture in life, everything is what? Zero. So the first generation was actually focused on what? On the agriculture. And that was when the mechanized farming actually sprang up. Then the railroad, they are using charcoal and some other thing before, they now have to do it because that is the means by which they can transport the agricultural product. What they did then was that to transform it so that it can be used by what? By an engine. Then there wasn't like electricity at that time. But the fourth generation actually brought out what we call the electricity. And we also have under invention, which permanently changed the society as a result of development in science and technology. Now, the second revolution, which was brought up in the 18th century, it makes mass production possible. Now, at the initial stage, the generation and some other things that were developed, they are only for for a little production. But at the end of the second generation, they now transform all those machines to produce en mass. And the third revolution leads to what we call the digital capability to billions of people. Now, in the third generation, now transform into digitalized issue, though at a very slow rate. And that actually led to what we call the fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution, which we are now, it provides the potential to regenerate the natural environment. And that is why, as you can see, we are going to talk about what we call the biomass, the solar, and some other things that has transformed as a result of the transformation from the third generation to the fourth generation, which will connect billions of people. Thank God what we are using now. In the whole world, we are looking at us. Because of what? Because of the transformation from the third generation to the fourth generation. So it makes the world a global village, whereby I can be here and somebody in any part of the world can access me. That is the essence of the fourth industrial revolution. And that is make the digital networks to transform. And that dramatically actually improve the efficiency and the organization of any system. Now, this is a typical, that's figure 3. This figure 3 slide. That's you are talking about a that has been what? That has been generated as a result of the fourth industrial revolution. If you see nowadays, if you are in an event and you want to do what? You want to cover that event. The person that wants to cover the event does not need to be there. What you only need to do is not to put the drone and put the camera there. And it's going to record everything. That is the essence of what? That is the essence of the fourth generation. It makes things to be digital. Like now, most of us, they are tired of watching television. What we watch now is what? Is the cables. That is the essence of the fourth generation. So we want to now look at how this now is going to reposition the science and technology. Now, we are going to expatiate on this as we progress, that the fourth revolution is actually now talking about the artificial intelligence, whereby you have your farm. You are not going to be there again. You only send your drone. When there is no rain, the drone or the sensor will trigger the water system there, and it's going to irrigate it. You trigger the machine that is there, and it's going to harvest for you. These are what has been working in an advanced country, and we are getting there. What are the robotics? I was surprised when I got to one library, and I saw an image that was moving. You see, when you finish the reading, the robot will come, pick the books from there, and to move to the shelf and put it rightly at the shelf. And when you are going out, the robot will salute you. Well done. And you cannot go out with any books because there's a robot that is standing there to block you. That is the genesis of the generation of the fourth industrial revolution. What of the Internet of Things? We are now in a global world whereby nobody can survive without the Internet of Things. In fact, I was having some people yesterday that said, what is the most vital thing that if you lose it today, you will not be able to sleep? You know the answer is your phone. Because everything about you is on that phone. That is the essence of the Internet of Things. What of the 3D printing? That has been a global something now. We are going to look at that as we proceed. Then the nanotechnology, whereby we, as Ancosos, we are going to forget about the PEDC or what we call them. We are now going to biomass. We are going to the solar, where we generated electricity that you can even give to people. That is the essence of the fourth industrial revolution. The biotechnology, the quantum computing, and the neurotechnology as far as the brain enhancement is concerned. It is now possible to work human being and repackage the brain and repackage the system inside you, and you are going to work for years. I was also amazed because technology has gone beyond. Now, when I saw one of our man, that was actually a pastor that was sick. By the time they put the machine on his body, we realized that a battery has been inside this man for good 15 years. Because about 15 years ago, the bladder caused spoil. They now use rubber and put a sensor inside a human being. And that man still live more than 15 years. That is the essence of the fourth industrial revolution. And that's what we call about neurotechnology that we're going to talk about. Brethren, the problem now is that because we are the foundation, we are the science teacher, we are the technology teacher. Are we ready to align ourselves to this new trend? Are we still keen into the old traditional method of teaching? No, that's supposed to be. You can see the image there. It's not only the man that will push. The children, they are also ready to do what? They are also ready to push. Now, like I said, the fourth industrial revolution and the Africa, which is some priority technology, I was talking about before I had the other time. We are talking about the precision farming, which involves the geophysical information system, the remote sensing technology, the robotic and Internet of a thing. Like I said, your farming system and some other technology now, you don't need to be there. You can trigger it. You can be at here and monitor what is happening in your home. You can be here and do what? And off or on any appliances in your home. That is the essence of the Internet of the thing. So the precision farming is there, and that is why you can have what you call the grafting. You can plant a vegetable today and harvest it tomorrow based on the biomass. You can do that now. So any other thing, you may not even go to the farm. You can stay inside this room and plant on the plastic, and you are still going to get the same. That is where the technology has gone into. That is the precision farming. I can have a plant that can grow orange and as well as grow what? Mango on the same plant. That is the essence of the technology. So we also have sensor technology. Everything now is based on sensor. Everything we are doing now is what? Is based on sensor. What of the artificial intelligence that has gone in a real time to actually improve the farming, the industry, and some other small and larger scales. And what of the blockchain technology? If you say it's okay, your own is to how to hack how to hack the banking system and other sector. Now the technology of blockchain blockchain has actually gone beyond that. That will block you with any form or any means by which you want to do your hacking. Now, the 4R and the skills tech development. Now, like I said, the unemployment has been a challenge partially rooted in growing mismatch between the use skill and the employer needs. If unaddressed, the problem will be intensified in the 4IR. You see, the rate at which unemployment now is growing. We have to key into the concept of the fourth industrial revolution. We must remember that the 4IR will change the skill content for many jobs, e.g., the operation with the process-driven tasks like the accounting. You see, I will be sorry to say that in about decades, there are some jobs that will be obsolete because of technology we have taken into consideration. If you are saying you are an accountant, fine. Thank God there was a time we have the typists. Is that not so? Our secretary, they are typists. Without them, you cannot survive. Even as a professor, you cannot survive. But when technology comes, you are on your home. So if you also say I can type Chotam in 4,000 words, forget about it now. That is it. So as all those jobs are going out, the same thing applicable to some jobs that we are seeing high now. Gone are the days when you are eyeing a banking job. Yes, gone are the days when you are eyeing it. It will get to a stage that something like an accounting will be obsolete because anybody can do it. Everybody can do it. But in this case, because of the artificial intelligence that are coming in, it has actually do what? It is going to modify some of these. So what we are talking about now is that you must have a workforce ready. You must have the technology skill. You must have what you call the soft skills. And the entrepreneurship must also be emphasized. Nowadays, the universities and the colleges and they are what? They are strongly based on the entrepreneurship because there's no job. But the little thing you teach them, they will be able to apply them physically. I see some of my students that have graduated. They are now fashion and designer. They are professional designer. They sew plastic. You know those things. When we import a shoe, when we import a coat, when you import when we do those things. But nowadays we have some people with those skills because of the little entrepreneurship they are exposing to at the university level. That kept on. They are not even employers of people. That is what the technology is actually coming into. Now, we now have a problem. The sudden coming of COVID-19. In the second half of 2019, the world received the news that a virus of corona family was forcing thousands of deaths. Initially, we thought it was a joke. That its origin was unknown and that new patterns of behavior should arise due to the global pandemic. Initially, people don't believe it. There are a lot of fallacies that are coming. They say it was as a result of 5G. They say it was as a result of technology, an experiment that was performed in China, and a lot. But fail to forget that there has been a pandemic before in the whole world, which was global. Remember the issue of the flu about 100 years ago. There was. So when it comes, it comes. And eventually, when God said there is going to be an end to this world, maybe there's going to be a genesis of that too. So either it was a true experiment or it was forcefully released to the world, we face what we call the pandemic, which is COVID-19. The global pandemic caused by the new coronavirus has disrupted the life of most people in the planet. The magnitude of such destruction can only be compared with what we experienced in the World War II. Government's effort now imposed some measures to actually curb this, and they started with what we call social isolation. Then you don't gather together. There's no any function. They started with that. Then they went ahead and they caused what we call the ban on local and international flights. And in some cases, there was a total lockdown. And we all knew what we faced then. Because the aftermath of such is one, there is now an economic global crisis. It's all this thing we are facing is only in this country. It is a global problem. Then the companies now, most of the companies, they are what? They have led to bankruptcy. What of the loss of job? Many jobs were laid off. Many people were laid off. And also what? Because there is no job, because most of the company folder, the government told you what? There was a reduction in the tax. And they actually affect what? It affects the economic of you and globally. Then the expert now suggests that in order to better evaluate the COVID-19 situation and to battle this tragic and regrettable situation, it should be divided into 3 ways. Remember, we are still looking at how we can reposition the science education and technology in the midst of the COVID-19 saga. Now, divided into first wave, which is where let's bring out some vaccination, and that is the first wave. The second one, after we are now still battling with the vaccination. Then we have the second one, which is what? Now let us try to help some country by giving them either forgive their debt or they share what we call the IMF loan in order to cushion the economy. And the third wave is now to accelerate the implementation process of the 4IR. Initially, 4IR was actually brought out at the 20th century, but it has not actually been totally visited. So there is a need for now to implement it, and that is the essence of this presentation. Now let's now go back to education in the fourth social. Today, the school leavers are facing a future in an uncertain job market. How should school help students to develop skills that will make them work ready? Many experts believe that we are now in the early stage of the 4IR and either combining the digital, the physical, and the biological system in a way never seen before. Like I said, we now have the concept of the virtual reality. Nowadays, it is not because look at the period of COVID-19. You cannot go to the class. They ask you to perform experiment. But thank God for this. There's now a visual lab where you can teach people physics. There's a visual biology. There's a visual lab for chemistry where you can actually perform in real time. And the student will still get the same results based on what? Based on the technology. That is the visual reality. What of the augmented reality? What of the artificial intelligence? And like at work, you see, and the essence of introducing the robot, which are changing the way we live and work, and the rapid pace of change is disrupting almost every industry and every country. School leavers equipped with the correct skills has an endless opportunities, but the challenge for school is how to prepare them well. How do we now prepare this? Because in reality, this is what we are facing, and we have to wake up to these challenges and face it. The big challenge is that the focus on the soft skill, which we are going to teach our students, will be a distraction in country where the basic education is still not up to scratch, and that is where we have a problem in this country. Because there is no funding, there are a lot of problems. Even the tools for all these visual, where are they? They are not available. So these are the challenges we may face. Now, because the employers which we are developing them for is now looking for a different thing. The fourth industrial revolution believes that the pace of change is creating opportunity like never seen before. Several communities whereby billions of people are now connected to mobile phones, like I said, unpreserved processing power, solid capacity and access to knowledge are unlimited. Now, how do we now combine this to actually give a skill to what the employers are seeking for in life of our students? What are they seeking for? Now, the world's largest economies to discover how technological advancement are likely to change the market. It's going to change the job. Don't let us deceive ourselves. I want to inform us that it wasn't the raw science or the raw technology or the engineering or the mathematics, which is known as STEM and digital skills that the employers actually desired. They are not. What did the employers seek? Now, the employer previous was placed on creativity-based skills. The student should be able to work, be creative,
and that is the excellence of students participating in the class. What you explain to him? He said, sorry, that aspect was not done by me. We are not six that did it. In that paper, so did this, so did this, so did this, and that was it. So they collaborated and they did what? They brought out a very good one. That is what the employer is. So there's a critical thinking and collaboration. Now they need an emotional intelligence and data skill and model. Now, with the knowledge of artificial intelligence is fast developing, students will increasingly need to demonstrate these skills that robots do not have. Don't let us disease ourselves. Many companies are now using robots. If you get to some buildings, it is the robot that will pack. They will pack the what do you call it, the cartons to a machine. It is not human being that will do that. Apart from the time, the one that the machine will be lifting, the robot will carry, will put it to the machine, and one person will be controlling the whole thing. Rather than before, somebody will clean, somebody will event, somebody will do this. No, and that is where the job loss is now. Now it is only one person that will do it on the system. So it's always the controlling system. The system will bring out the bottle will clean it, and that's just a tap on where it is. It will clean it, it will wash it, it will package it, it will size it, it will gaze it, one will cock it, and that was all. And it will pack it to somewhere and put it in a seal. The robot will carry it and package it, and the machine will put it, and they will sell it. This is a job that about 50 people supposed to do before. You can see where we have a problem. Now you have to develop students in such a way that emotionally he will be intelligent. And in terms of what, he will also have a critical thinking. What else can I do to actually achieve this? That is the generation we have. With the knowledge of artificial intelligence, like I said, but it's actually becoming a fast development. Students will increasingly need to demonstrate that the skill that the robot cannot do. You can see the summary of what they actually need there. You can see the emotional intelligence, the creativity, they must be initiative. You have to be inquisitive. You have to be inquisitive. You have to be able to make a decision on your own. You must keep open your mind. Your mind must be open. This is what I want to do. What of the adaptability to any system or every environment? What your ability to be able to negotiate? What of the resolving complex problem? These are the skills that the employer is expecting from a student. These are the skills that the employer is expecting from you before you can actually make a way out. Now, how are schools preparing students for a future in which the sands are constantly shifting? Let us know as a teacher that the sands are shifting, but how are we preparing our students? And where do we go from now? Now, the following strategies must be adopted for proper positioning. Number one, the traditional mode of teaching should be appreciated. You cannot rule it out. All the method of teaching, you cannot rule it out. That is why the modern method of actually still put the teacher as the main figure. It cannot be ruled out. It can never be ruled out. However, the educational curriculum should be adapted to reflect the skills that will be in demand for this generation. Teachers should key in to the concept of student-centered type of learning. Do it yourself. You don't do it for them. They must think critically and emotionally, push into that to do it themselves. Teachers should be ready to invest in their profession to align with the new development. Books, you must be ready to invest in books. You cannot rule out books. It is still there. But we have e-books now that you can download and do that. What of internet? You have the ability to be able to solve. You should be able to solve anything you want into the internet. What of conferences like this? You don't mind what will cost you to attend international or local conferences, because that is where you showcase your work. That is where your work will be criticized. That is where you learn about new things from others presenter. You have to invest in yourself. What of the seminar? You must organize seminars in the faculty, whereby the new thing you develop, you can see. You also present it and criticize. What of training? We must go for training. We must, no matter what it costs us, let us go to training, because that is where you begin to learn new things, etc., etc. Now, we must now create what we call the Center of Excellence to deepen the talent pool. The talent gap is getting larger in part because of the new technology that are creating a greater need for skills. Now for over 1 year now, we do not have a physical class. You have to either learn a Zoom, you must teach through a Zoom, you must teach through a Google class, you must teach through a Microsoft Meet. Do you know that is even very easy? I was dealing with, I'm personally dealing with about close to about 500 students, and I gave them a work on the Google class. And immediately the machine mapped it, and the next minute they saw their result. But in the olden days, you don't have to mark. In fact, sometimes you have to place pillow after you finish the exam. You place pillow beside you because you have to mark one by one. But all those things they happen. So you have to be able to adapt to that. But if you are sleeping, like one of my guys used to do, when we started, you will still record your score with red Bible. If you score 11, you put red Bible to mark it, and that's what is going to be. I said, type this thing in the computer. So no, we have to put in the sheet of paper and put that red. I said the student must see that this is red. But you have gone beyond that. We have actually gone beyond that. And that's why advances, and that's why before you can adapt to using of computer, it took an age. We have to adapt. We have to adapt. Adaptability is one of the major things we have to do. Advancement in technology not only require new employee skills, they also shorten the shelf life of those skills and increase the need for continuous training. Firms are facing pressure that can tilt the balance toward more automation due to COVID-19. Most of those things now you don't touch it yourself, even in the company, because of the fear of COVID-19. If you are working in a company, you don't touch most of those things. When you are even greeting, you have to greet with arms. Stop mentioning of touching even. So everything now has to be what? Automation, and the company are switching to that. So when firms need to restructure themselves and reorganize to adjust to the post-pandemic economic environment that will involve constraint on human interaction and risk mitigation regulation. You must be able to limit the interaction, limit the touch of man with the rest. What about the government policy? The government policy meant to ameliorate the economic part of the pandemic, such as lower interest rate or subsidy for food, can reduce the cost for automation and further tip the balance toward uptake of higher technology. Government should also take a proactive measure by providing enabling environment in terms of funding in the primary, secondary, and higher institution of learning. For higher scenario that will benefit from further examination include the possibility that certain routinized, which is the white collar job, that is the routinized one, front and back office environment will see accelerated automation in response to COVID-19 crisis at a rate exceeding that for manufacturing sector. Policymakers will need to conduct a careful sector by sector and gender-based analysis of jobs at risk of automation that factors in what we call the new normal. We are now in the new normal. This assessment to consider traditional dynamics that will also account for COVID-specific variables, such as the post-pandemic economic consideration, the emerging challenges faced by workers, and the unintended impact of crisis response policy. As employers balance these factors in deciding on whether to automate, policymakers need to address the impact of this decision on the jobs, on the income, on the welfare of workers, the access to skill development, and labor market information will ensure the workers have access to opportunities in the post-pandemic digital economy. Social protection will be crucial in ameliorating job precariousness, income uncertainty for income. Regional cooperation will also have a role to play in providing a forum for policy coordination, development of regional public and sharing of information. The list I present over there, they are by no means exhaustive. Other project ideas, I believe, will certainly emanate from the contribution at this conference as they trash the essential details of the team and sub-team. I wish all using delegation and a successful outcome of this 2021 annual national conference of the School of Science. Thank you. Next, we want to thank our professor. I said it. He deserves a standing ovation and more than what we've just done. He's an orator. Thank you. Prof is an orator. Prof speaks eloquently. In fact, you will just be moved. And with this sensitive topic, repositioning science,
science, education, and technology in driving the fourth industrial revolution. In this period of the COVID-19 era, where we concluded that we now have new normal. So we just have to adjust scientifically, and that things if you are not well informed, you will certainly be deformed in this fourth industrial revolution generation. If you are not well informed, you will be deformed. I want to bring up to the podium so that we can take comments and questions at the same time for the lead paper presenter, so that we can take comments, we can take contributions from those on the platform before we have the vote of thanks, and the chairman of this very occasion, Professor Anif Uche, will declare the conference closed for the day before we move to plenary. Later we'll be announcing the time for plenary. I have another father, another scholar. Is a noble researcher. Is no other person. Is an internal lecturer from the Adeyemi Foremost College of Education, Ondo City, Ondo State, Nigeria, West Africa. Is no other person than Dr. Rashid Oloride.
I'm particularly plenary. Ma.
Good afternoon, everybody. The chairman of this occasion, the provost and the college principal officers, our keynote address presenter, my dean, the dean of School of Science, all other deans and directors, HOD, and all members of staff of Adeyemi College of Education, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I want to first of all say good afternoon to everybody. We thank God for the opportunity given to us, and I want to start by appreciating all the serving bodies in the School of Science, Adeyemi College of Education, Ondo, for giving me this real and golden opportunity. And it was with great pleasure and singular honor that I accepted to deliver this lead paper on the theme, the position in science, science education, and technology in driving the fourth industrial revolution in Nigeria amidst COVID-19 saga at the 2021 annual conference of the School of Science of this great institution. It is pleasing that the theme of this year's conference is flavored with the phrase fourth industrial revolution, which the transformation of technological era. The arrangement of the theme of this conference speaks about the connection that exists between science education and the changing era of industrial revolutions in the world. Truly, education and industrial development of any nation are interlinked. Introduction. The emergency of the fourth industrial revolution, as said by my prof, the keynote address presenter, has presented numerous benefits, opportunities, as well as challenges at higher frequency more than any other previous revolution. The fourth industrial revolution, (4IR), is a sharp contrast from the previous revolutions, because unlike the previous revolutions where technology deployed the skills workers, technology of the fourth industrial revolution complement workers with high skill while replacing workers with low skills. The chances of any economy to participate in manufacturing and production in the fourth industrial revolution depend on the availability of relevant skills. As a result of the replacement of low-skilled workers in manufacturing, the chances are that over 66% of developing country jobs are at risk, like what the professor said the other time. This shows that most countries
in Africa, including Nigeria, are at the risk of losing around 44 to 50% of their jobs to automation, according to the Moody 2017. The fourth industrial revolution, the 4.0, is the ongoing automation of traditional manufacturing and industrial practices using modern smart technology, large-scale machine-to-machine communication, and the Internet of Things, IoT, are integrated for increased automation, improved communication, and self-monitoring, and production of smart machines that analyze and diagnose issues without the need of human intervention at all, according to the 2019. If you look at the history of the Industrial Revolution, I said by my key professor the other time, you will say that it has 3 stages. The first one, the second one, and the third one. What is the first industrial revolution? Was marked by a transition from hand production methods to machines through the use of steam power and water power between 1760 and 1820, or 1840 in Europe and the United States. Like what he said, he has already analyzed that one the other time. The second industrial revolution, also known as the technological revolution, is the period between 1871 and 1914 through amalgamation that resulted from installations of extensive railway road. The railroad that you mentioned the other time, when you use your hand to work in the farm, you have all your products. You are going to get the products from your farm to where you are going to sell it in the market. Our extensive railroad and telegraph networks, which allow for faster transfer of people and ideas as well as electricity. The third industrial revolution, also known as the digital revolution, occurred in the late 20th century after the end of the Second World War, resulting from a slowdown of industrialization and technological advancement. You see that many of us we don't want to leave that digital to this fourth industrial revolution because you are already used to it. Everything digital. What are the components of the fourth industrial revolution? As he mentioned the other time, the first thing, when you just look at it, you see your mobile devices. Like what we said the other time, somebody was talking to us from Akure, and all of us were watching that person directly here. If you have not done that, you see everything there through this mobile phone. And like what he said the other time, we add something to this mobile phone. If you are just using your WhatsApp and you don't want to write anything on the paper or you don't want to type anything, you can just continue talking to your mobile phone and everything will be recorded. You can just send it directly to that person. And not only that, look at the Internet of Things that we said. Artificial intelligence, as explained by him the other time, location detection technology. You know, we are here now. They may put a machine here now, like a telephone, and everything you are talking about, they will see it over there. And you may not be there, like robot that my professor mentioned the other time. Anybody may not be here. If you open the door, if you close the door, if everything that happens here, you will see everything at the end of the day. That will show you that these location detection technologies have gone far. Advanced human-machine interface, authentication and fraud detection, 3D as mentioned at the other one. Now, what are the concepts of science education? Science education, according to Buzeri 1995, is the application of educational learning theory, especially those based on the philosophical, sociological, and psychological perspectives in the endless search for knowledge, resulting in the development of the 3 domains, cognitive, affective, and psychomotor, through some systematic processes involving careful observation, deduction, and testing by empirical means. The field and concept of technology education, that of the science education, that of the technology education. One, the International Test and Evaluation Association, 2000, define technology education as the study of technology in which students learn about the process and knowledge related to technology. As a field of study, it covers the human ability to shape, change the physical world to meet the needs by manipulating materials and tools with techniques. That's what he was telling us. Without science, you cannot go to technology because they go hand in hand, pari pursue, and there is an interlink, okay, between the science and that of the technology. As a concept, it concerns an area of tools such as media, machines, and networking hardware, as well as considering underlying theoretical perspective for the effective application, according to the Ritchie 2000. And when you are talking about both education and technology and the science we are talking about, they have a lot of challenges and perspectives. The problem of science and technology education in Nigeria are diverse. They arise from one, inadequate supply of instructional materials, like you mentioned by the professor the other time. And I was at one secondary school during our last teaching practice. And they said one of my students is in laboratory there, biology lab. When I got there, they call it biology lab, but you cannot see any traces of any materials there or instructional materials. Even ordinary charts showing human digestive system, skeletal system, anything, you cannot see anything inside the laboratory. I said, why is your chemistry lab? Oh God. When I go to the chemistry lab, there's not anything like a titration. All the materials there, you see, so dirty, you will see the cobwebs and everything there. Where's your chemistry teacher? The woman came. Don't you use this and this and that. You don't have money to buy chemicals, to buy materials. Why are you teaching? And how many of the students we do why this year? I said, almost 105. You do science, chemistry, or biology, they said they are 73. If what do we expect, okay, which type of result do we expect from such school? Then lack of motivation is another problem and challenge that people are facing in science and technology. If you can do something now, instead of people to motivate you to continue, or those people in higher places see that, okay, somebody that did something, let's go and call him. They will never do that. Tears is where your knowledge will perish. Lack of well-equipped libraries is another problem and challenge that we have. The lack of workshops, tools and machineries, the frequent curriculum changes is affecting us now. I was at the admission office here, and anybody who wants to do science, I expect some person to have biology. Biology is no more compulsory in any of our curriculum now, secondary school. It's not compulsory again. And this is the only area where every student you pass through in your secondary school. You see, those that have done secondary school during the Form 1, Form 2, Form 3 in the early days. Automatically, if you don't do anything, you want to do art, or you want to do any other thing, you are going to do one science subject, that is biology. But now, no more compulsory. Even Yoruba in Yoruba land is no more compulsory. And we are in Yoruba, go to any other country. Okay? If you go to Italy, you go to France or anywhere, you learn their own language. And even our own here, we don't have our course as a compulsory course in any of our secondary school. Yoruba is not compulsory, Igbo is not compulsory. And if you get to another country, that's another thing that they are just changing curriculum anyhow, anywhere. And look at Osun, for example. The system of education in Osun State, I don't know how to call it, because both primary school students, secondary school, they are in the same building. And their uniform are also the same. And not only that, and I don't know how you want to separate them. When any of them make a sort of trouble in one school or in a tunnel, you cannot identify which student did this from what school. You cannot. Then lack of well-articulated in-service education program. This official university admission for the training of the technology teacher, like what the professor said the other time. Then personal and public image are already destroyed. That of qualified technical educators. Now, go to our secondary school now. I went to almost 7 secondary school last month in Akure. In a school where you have more than 100 students, they have only 4 permanent teachers. 4 permanent teachers. And somebody who is studying Yoruba, they ask some person to go and teach integrated science. It's not that I don't integrated science, go and teach it now. Yes, I have all the names here. I don't want to mention. That's what they have in our secondary school. Go there. They are now using our parent teacher to come and teach the students here now. 4 teachers in a school. In another school, we have 3 teachers. It's a public school. The one I mentioned, not private school. What type of education or the knowledge, okay, do you want to impart into the student? Somebody teaching almost 5 different courses. And this is the NCE teacher. It's not a graduate teacher, NCE teacher. Literature is teaching literature, integrated science, and so on and so forth. This is one of the things that we are creating for ourselves. Another one is outdated curriculum. That one was mentioned by the professor the other time. While what we are doing now, both in primary school and secondary school, even they mentioned it here. This is the College of Education. Most of the curriculum we are having are already outdated. You may not believe it. You see what is happening about the School of Education, where they are divided into different units and departments there. Then our 4IR technologies, system and approaches incorporated in science, learning, and higher education today. The 4th Industrial Revolution technologies, system of platform allow distant and remote education to occur almost seamlessly. Look at our program now. Any year now, you can sit down here and receive your lecture. Look at NOTES, National Open University. Look at our own program. Everywhere you see. Then computation software allows mathematical students, for example, to practice key mathematical techniques and concepts, giving them a much wider range of examples than they will have access to conventionally. Then augmented reality, AR mentioned by the prof the other time, and virtual reality, VR application present novel possibility as teaching tools. For example, to visualize molecules in 3D, which is essential in disciplines such as biochemistry and chemistry itself. You can make use of it. What are the challenges of 4th Industrial Revolution in Nigeria schools? Most of you have been mentioned by the professor the other time. It is a challenge, and we are going to face it. There's nothing we can do. Given the nature of the 4IR, 4th Industrial Revolution, what is required is for government to help build the knowledge economy and the most serious, but not only, constraint to Nigerians making use of the opportunity of this 4th Industrial Revolution, and which exposes workers to be replaced by automation, is the lack of skills and education. The second one is the lack of sufficient skills workers. Is further reflected in Africa having lower enrollment and completion rates in primary education than anywhere else. The lowest participation rate in tertiary education and the highest pupil-teacher ratio in the world. Let's go to some new technologies and applications in science education. Only product of technology is the internet, which can be used extensively for science education. That will be explained the other time. Science teachers can also use simulators for teaching science. That's what many people use during our COVID-19, and it helps a lot. The software and video resources can also be used for teaching higher level science. Then microcomputer-based lab, MBL, sometimes referred to as a propware, has proven to be used in science classroom according to the Roglia 2003, restructuring educational policy for industrialization. The first is the development of schools and technical vocational colleges with a strong link to the commercial sector. The second area where urgent change is needed is to increase investment in technical and STEM skills mentioned by Prof at that time. The STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The third area of change in education institution is that the embassy needs to shift towards imparting of complex problem-solving skills. The fourth area is to create a nurturing environment for human capital to protect Nigeria's knowledge base. The fifth area for improvement is to underpin the above investment in the knowledge base and entrepreneurial ecosystem with a better system of social protection. Finally, access to financial may be important to give people access to the education. They may need to access and utilize the opportunity opened by the new technologies. Why do Nigeria need to industrialize? Needs to industrialize. Industrialization refers to the process of structural transformation of an economy away from dominance by the primary sector to an economy where manufacturing plays a more prominent role in output and employment. It is important to note at the outset that technological progress, innovations necessary for successful industrialization. There is no way in which you want to develop your industry without you having the knowledge of science, and this one will help a lot. Countries with a larger manufacturing sector tend to have more stable growth than countries depending on production and export of a commodity like in Nigeria. Conclusion. As far as education is concerned, industrial policies that promote the development of business, schools, and technical vocational colleges with a strong link to the science sector, raising of investment in technical and STEM skills, shifting of learning towards acquisition of complex problem-solving skills, creation of nurturing environment for human capital to better protect African knowledge based on conflict and disease, and underpinning of investment in the knowledge based on entrepreneurship ecosystem with better social protection and insurance will greatly enhance industrialization. Recommendation. The following recommendations were made. The government of Nigeria should consider in-depth change in our system of operation so as to encourage new media, network, reading about various sectors in the country, and ensure that the impact of industrial revolution is felt, most especially in the educational sector. 2, government should encourage schools and other related agencies to embrace digital utilization. 3, the government should employ science and technology education technicians for school to assist teachers in practical science and technology. You know what their duty will be. Most of us are in the area of science. 4, the government should train teachers to engage fully in the digital technologies to improve students' experience of and attainment in science and technology. 5, there should be educational reform policy to accommodate and address the challenges encountered in the use of the digital technology in Nigerian schools. Nigerian people, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at this topic, positioning science education and technology in driving the fourth industrial revolution in Nigeria, Saga 19, you will see that every one of us will believe that justice has done to that topic. Thank you. May God bless you.
Most sincerely appreciate Dr. Rashid Oloyede for that thought-provoking lead paper presentation. I just said it. The chairman of the occasion speech, the provost speech, the keynote address, very succinct. In fact, we really appreciate our guest speakers, and of course, I know viewers there on YouTube and as well as those on the Zoom platform. They have been having a very rewarding time. Yet, I've said it the other time that we're going to have comment and question time. So please, if you have question, you may wish to either raise your hand technologically so that our IT team will just note those who want to ask questions or comment. We'll do that in the next 5 minutes or thereabout, so that we will be able to take our time to go to plenary after the short break. But I will kickstart by asking, I will be the first person to ask the question. So we will set others who will be asking questions on the platform. So please, the ICT, kindly just note those who have raised their hand so that we just unmute them to allow them to speak. My question is to our professor and our elder scholar, Dr. Luidi, is that nowadays, when there are innovative ideas that propel technological change, why is it somehow difficult, even when in the academic setting that for people to change, to say, okay, I'll do this, do that, they still find that the systemic old method is still quite appreciated or they find it. So maybe you have something to say with that. So we will be taking those points, and if we have, please, do we have others who have raised their hands while we allow Prof to please answer. Thank you very much. I want to. Nobody wants to leave a comfort zone. The technologies you are used to, one thing that is very difficult for human life is the adaptability to change. Nobody wants, like I said, nobody wants to leave a comfort zone. The system whereby you have been so much mostly used to. Now, to change you within a thinking of mind, it actually takes time. And that is why that one actually comes in. And in changes, we also have different means of changes. There are some that can easily change, but there are some that changes with time, while there are some needs to be forced to change. Because just like you asked, you see, if you are still living in the old method, in spite of the changes and the development in the technology, and you still want to do that, one, you are not helping yourself. Two, if you are a teacher, you are not helping the pupils you are teaching. I want us to know that, you know that there are some people that hate one subject because of the teacher that is taking it. They say, physics. No, I got discouraged started from my secondary school because the teacher will just say, when you say the law, this and that, and blah, 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 and there's nowhere to actually bring it on the lower level reality for them to see. Chemistry is even worse because you are not seeing it. You can see something in physics, but in chemistry you are not seeing that. So they get scared of it. And because of that, they now develop that emotion in such a way that they will hate science. But science is very interesting. So in such situation, it is possible that some people are adamant to change. The first thing to do is this. One is to encourage them. That is number one. You see, there are some, when this new thing came in, this asset, you know that some people, some lecturer, amazed a senior colleague, they call it the devil's instrument. When they saw it, say, you are also helping, you are also using the devil instrument. But thank God, after 5 years or so, that okay, you too use a devil instrument. Because you cannot do without it now. That is it. So times we change people, the encouragement will change them, and if they have to place a policy, there must be a policy that will make them to change. You see, people they are not easy for people to turn. But when you impose a policy and do what? Are we not in this country whereby if you want to go to the bank before, you have to be on the queue? Is that not so? You must do everything in order. Is it not this same country? But when there is no any other policy that actually implements on that, people do what they like. So people do what they like if there is nothing. They say where there is no law, there is no sin. So in such situation, the authority must make it mandatory
You see, when this COVID-19 came, and we had a tutorial that everybody now has to do what? Everybody now has to go on Zoom, go on Google Class, go on Teammate, and some other things. And the old professor and some other people say it's not possible. You see, you are just trying to, the policy that have been made before, you are just trying to kill it. You made these students, you made them lazy, you made them redundant, and so and so. When the enforcement was there, you have to. The people, they complain, they're going to get electricity, they're going to get data, they're going to get this. You see, when you get to that junction, you know how to cross it. But by the time we get to pick of it, that this semester just have to go, everybody has to comply. So a policy must be implemented that will force them to change. That is true. So without that, people will not change. After you encourage, you see, if your encouragement did not work, then place a policy. When that policy, then they have to adapt to it. Thank you.
We don't know if we still have people who have comments. I think Dr. Ariyo is joining remotely. Or Dr. Ariyo, please, can you please be unmuted so that you can have your comment. Please spotlight Dr. Ariyo. Kindly spotlight Dr. Ariyo. Yes. Okay, no comment. Okay. All right. Okay. Do we have? Okay, maybe this. He will. Okay, Dr. Akiremi, please kindly let's have the platform, Dr. Akiremi on the platform for Dr. Ariyo's question. Please kindly bring up Dr. Ariyo.
Thank you very much, sir. I want to once again appreciate. My name is Dr. Ariyo, please. I want to appreciate our resource persons.
Okay.
The professor and Dr. Oloyede. You've taught us a lot about the fourth industrial revolution, and I can see that it's so beneficial. Because I'm going by the state of the nation, the world, so to say. I'm going by the state of the insecurity of the day. And I want to ask, can't this 4IR help in the area of insecurity? If it can, what is stopping us? If it can't, what is the essence of 4IR? Thank you, sir.
Dr. Oloyede, the question is directed to you, sir.
Now, it can help, but every one of us will know the problem we have in Nigeria. We don't want anything to work. That's number one. We don't want anything to work because anything that will not benefit us individually, we don't want it to work. That's number one. Number two, we are so selfish in such a way that look at what happened at Lekki the other time. Okay, whereby the engine or the machine put there, they remove it before they start the problem. Why did they do that? And in Nigeria, security is very easy to detect. But those people that will detect all these people now, okay, they are not ready to do it because they are part of it. And you get what I'm saying? Unless we start from our own. If we start from home, using different ways of engaging this industrial revolution at home, we move from our home to school, from school to our local community, from local community to the village, from village to the town, and everything go on like that now. Everybody will be afraid. And number two, we have another one problem in this country. We are mentioning, we are talking about. If they want the fourth industrial revolution to work for security, those people are the top. Not all of us here can go to Abuja, can go there and so forth to see what is happening there. They will not allow you to work. They will say that no money, no transportation to take people from one place to another. No, you have so many problems and challenges. They will say that it's not working. Nothing working for us in this country. Look at what happened at this Enugu. Another thing happened there yesterday. Okay? Whereby those, I don't know whether I could call them kidnapper or these people, they slaughter so many people on the ground. Are you telling me where they are stealing money, where they are stealing all these things, they don't have a machine that will detect them that they are doing something? They have it there, but people are not allowed to work. If you have people that will allow things to work in Nigeria, okay, we won't have any problem at all. The science is enough that will help us to see what is happening. But we complain of so many factors that will enable the fourth industrial revolution not to work at all. We complain that no money, no personnel to go there, no fuel, no electricity, no network. If you don't have all this thing now, how do you expect for the industrial revolution to work for all in this country? Thank you.
Thank you, dear speakers. In fact, really, we just like one of the is it Aristotle now said, until the kings are born and the born kings are made to rule, the nation will know no peace. So until real kings are born and they are made to be enthroned in position of leadership, then the fourth industrial revolution in Nigeria will work. And of course, we are getting there because the youths are charged, the youths are with great intelligence, they are coming up, and we will not forever silence their voice. Their voice will be heard because technology is sufficient to drive the economy, to drive security, to drive so many things. And while on this note, I want to call on Professor Anifuwoshi for his closing. Yeah, okay, all right, Prof. Okay, sorry.
Thank you very much. In fact, Dr. actually said the right thing on this. The 4IR, in fact, is the main key that can curb security anywhere, anytime. Because we are talking about artificial intelligence. We are talking about robotics. We are talking about 3D printing and some other things which are told to print in place. But like I said, you know, the key thing, there are two key things that has to put in place first before it can actually emanate. Number one is, that is what he actually key now, is the leader. We need what? A leader. Because in any situation, no matter how home is, if you want to get to know how that home is, it's what? It's the leader of that home. If there is a good leader that will lead by example, then it will work. Because, like I gave an example the other time, during the period when we are to kill, we are to leader, it's not the leader. All those countries that we are running to, are they better than Nigeria? No, we are richer than them. But the only thing that is there is that they have a good leader, and they have what? They have what they call the lay down, which is in our own constitution. Straight from the kindergarten, everybody must know what's in the constitution, and they live by it. But if I hear now, if I ask what is in the constitution of Nigeria, do we know it? We don't know it. And again, our constitution is Morrison. It is old. So that is one. Again, another thing for IR to work, it cannot work without electricity. In fact, that is the basis thing. If you go to all those countries where you have you target the security, you can handle any security is the electricity. Look at what happened in Abuja when they fixed the CCTV. You know what happened? Some people go in and they remove it. They remove it.
Well, Prof, there's a question now.
Yes.
From Dr. Aramide from Baptist offices. Today, there is a multiplication of the availability of smartphones, yes, ICT tools, and internet of people devices. How can citizens, including the youth, students of science, who have these tools, to begin to collaborate, crowdsourcing, to solve the key problems in the country, so that we can just add that? Yes, thank you very much. So, like I said, so the electricity and water is actually there. Now, like the advent of the smartphone is so germane now that you cannot do it without it. Number one is the issue of the lecturing. You know, this is one, like I conducted a test, and you still have some people
that will come and meet you that they don't have the smartphone. But what do you do to such kind of a student? For now, you still have to accommodate them because you have to accommodate them to do what? To write the exam. But they have to change because now, like I said, one of the way by which student participating classes is actually to give a sort of a what? A sort of a group work, a tutorial, a group work, where you link about 4 or 5 people. You know, I can call now, or I can have a chat where 5 or 4 of us, I'll be calling, we will respond, everyone on what we hear. That is the essence of the smartphone. And that is where the student has to actually to fit in. That if you give them a group work, they don't need to see each other. All what they need to do is that you tap in, you link the 4 of them, not even Zoom, even online your WhatsApp, even online call. You can do that, they will do a conferencing. And they will do what? They will resolve and immediately they submit their work. Those are the things. And if they actually want to face that challenge, the issue of the collaboration, we also have to do that as a teacher. We must make them to work in a group and do what? And you are not only that, in any group you put them, because we are also there to supervise. Look at the exam that we are doing now. You know why we want to do exam? What you do is that they may assign about 25 students to read. And you will do it. I will be monitoring the 25 on my phone. And you cannot shift to because I will be monitoring you. Somebody else will be monitoring me. There's also a main supervisor that will monitor all the lecturers. They did that successfully in most of the university. And people sit down at home. All what you need, they will compare that you must have a system that have a camera, a very sharp camera, or you use this one that have a very sharp camera. And they are connected and they are watching everybody. That is the way to do it. So the smartphone is a very good example. And it's an advantage nowadays for us to even do that. And to even come to what you are talking about, it can be. Because if anything happens now, and we are connected, and we play connecting, something is happening there, and you connect, before you know what's happening when you wake up. That is the extent of the smartphone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We cannot exhaust the content of this team, repositioning, science, education, and technology in this 4th industrial revolution generation, and of course, in this COVID-19 era, where much will be said and discussed at the level of the plenary. Professor Anifowoshe, we want to briefly have your closing remarks before the chairman LOC comes up to give the vote of thanks. Professor Anifowoshe, please, ITC team, please kindly spotlight Professor Anifowoshe to have his closing remarks before we call it a day for this official opening ceremony. Professor Anifowoshe. Yes, it's online. It's online. Is Professor Anifowoshe still online? Please mute. No, because. Okay. Why we'll try to bring up Professor Anifowoshe so that we will not take more of our time. I want to invite the chairman LOC to give the vote of thanks while the person to say the closing prayer should be ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Adeneko. Starting on all the existing protocols. On behalf of the Dean and the 2021 School of Science Conference Organizing Committee, I want to say a very big thank you to the Almighty God, the sustainer of life that has kept us all this while and has given us the gift of life to be able to partake in this conference. Glory be to his holy name. Permit me also to appreciate the chief host and the college provost, Dr. S.A. Akintude, for his unalloyed support and motivations towards the success of the conference. Sir, you are well appreciated. Thank you, sir, for your leadership acumen in ensuring that will have recorded success in the conference. On this note, I want to appreciate the other members of the college management team. As Sazama, you are all appreciated. Permit me at this junction to appreciate our own father in the school. That is the Dean, School of Science, Dr. M.O. Thank you, sir, for your motivation, suggestions, and positive contributions in ensuring that we have recorded success in the conference. May the Lord bless you immensely, sir. I also want to appreciate the chairman of this occasion, Professor AYB Anifowoshe from the Federal University of Technology, Akure. I want to specially commend your efforts in ensuring that you have participated fully in the conference. We have gained a lot from your wealth of experience, and we are not oblivious of your tight schedule, but despite that, you have made it and have ensured you presented the way you should. Thank you, sir. Permit me also to acknowledge our keynote address presenter, Professor Ojo, and our own lead paper presenter, Dr. Aro Oloyede. Sirs, we are grateful. We have actually appreciated your brilliant presentations, and we have gained a lot from your presentations as a seasoned scientist. We have actually been able to tap one or two things from your presentations. May the Lord honor you for honoring our invitation. Thank you, sir. Permit me to appreciate the ICT director, MIS director, our own Dr. Kehinde Adenege. I want to give kudos to you for your own contributions too. We have always been calling him here and there, Dr. Adenege, come and do this, come and do that, and he will never complain. May the Lord be with you and elevate you. Thank you so much. Now I have a group of people to appreciate. That is the 2021 School of Science Conference Organizing Committee. You are wonderful people that should be applauded. You have actually worked relentlessly to ensure that we record a huge success. May the Lord crown all our efforts with success, and may the Lord be with you all. Thank you so much for all your contributions, your suggestions. Everything you have done is well appreciated. Thank you so much. Now, I want to also acknowledge our distinguished board members. Thank you so much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I want to appreciate you, and also our Nigerian students that participated in the conference. I want to appreciate everyone for being part of the 2021 School of Science Conference. Thank you all. God bless you.
I also want to thank the chairman, even if he has not thanked herself, I want to thank her so much. A chairwoman in chairman. If there's any grammar like that. Well, I want to thank everybody for making this conference very worthwhile. The recording is there, and of course, you can always get that, the lectures and everything from our presenters. I want to call on Mr. Esho Oloyede. We just say we have one Oloyede and again another Oloyede. Well, that's very interesting. Mr. Ahmed O. Oloyede for the closing prayer. Thank you, Mr. Ahmed.
In the name of Almighty Allah, the most gracious, most beneficent, most merciful, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the opportunity He has given to us to come successfully to the end of this Ancosos 2021 conference. And to all our presenters, we say that Almighty Allah will continue to increase you in knowledge.
Amen.
You have come from far and near. We pray that Almighty Allah will grant you journey mercies to your various destinations. To all the participants, may the Almighty Allah give us the opportunity to enjoy the benefits and the outcome of this Ancosos 2021 conference. We also pray that all our ICT members, may God continue to give you good health. And to the LOC members, the organizing committee, may the Almighty Allah continue to give us the good health and everything we need in order to continue like this. In the name of Almighty Allah, we have prayed.
Amen.
Thank you all for coming. Plenary will be starting at exactly 2 p.m. We have the link where we will make it a quarter after 2, but of course it's set as 2 p.m. just for brief. So we will take a group photograph and the like. So we set the plenary for 2 p.m. But please kindly just take note. We will start by quarter after 2. The link is already there. The passcode is 5AQQU1. 5 small a, capital Q, capital U, and 1. And the link is 5AQQU1. So we enjoin others. We have 5 plenary groups. So for people to just join remotely, and then we're going to have a very wonderful time. Thank you all. Thank you for making Ancosos 2021. God bless you all.
Nice topic.